Hello friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joyce Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about the trade margin cap on anti-cancer drugs. Now coming to the current affair, the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, that is the NPPA, has imposed a trade margin cap on 42 non-scheduled anti-cancer drugs. Later in this lecture we will discuss what is the difference between scheduled and non-scheduled drugs. So now the current affair is that the NPPA, National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, has imposed a trade margin cap. That means the maximum profit that pharmaceutical companies can earn on 42 non-scheduled anti-cancer drugs. Now briefly about NPPA. NPPA is National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority and this was constituted through a Government of India resolution in the year 1997. It is an attached office of Department of Pharmaceuticals, Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. So remember that pharmaceuticals or drugs comes under the purview of Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. So if certain schemes like Jan Aushadhi Yojana, etc., which relates to drugs and pharmacies are asked in your examination, you should remember that it comes under the purview of Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. So this is an important prelims fact. And NPPA works as an independent regulator for pricing of drugs and also ensures the availability and accessibility of medicines at affordable prices. So this affordability has been ensured by regulating the prices of drugs. So when the prices of drugs in the markets goes high, that means when it becomes unaffordable, it will cut down the prices or regulate the prices in order to make it affordable and accessible for the masses. And it also implements and enforces the provisions of the drugs price control order in accordance to the powers delegated to it. So this is the role and function of NPPA or the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority. So we have already seen the current affair. Now we will move on to the main content of the lecture. But before we move on, this is our channel StudyIQ and we are providing pen drive courses for various competitive examinations including SSC bank courses, UPSC optionals, SSC JE courses, teaching examinations, railway examinations, defense examinations, RBI grade B, NABARD grade A, UGC NET, UPSC Civil Services Examination, CLAT exams for various state PSCs and also for various professional courses. You can visit our website www.studyiq.com for more details or you can call to any of these numbers for more information. Now having understood the current affairs, we have seen that National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority has imposed a trade margin cap on 42 non-scheduled anti-cancer drugs. So what is the difference between scheduled drugs and non-scheduled drugs? So we'll see what is scheduled drugs first. So scheduled drugs are also called scheduled formulations and these medicines are listed in the Schedule 1 of the Drug Price Control Order or the DPCO. So those drugs which are included in the Schedule 1 of the DPCO is known as the scheduled drugs or scheduled formulation. And since 2013, the scheduled drugs consist of the essential medicines and the essential medicines are declared by the government through its National List of Essential Medicines or NLEM. So NLEM is a national list of essential medicines and it is declared by the government. And this list consists of the list of essential medicines. And if any formulation or if any drug is appearing under the NLEM, it can be subject to price fixation. Because of the nature of the drugs in the National List of Essential Medicines, they are essential in nature. So these medicines are subject to price fixation or price regulation by the government. So in short, we can say that NLEM or the National List of Essential Medicines forms the basis of deciding what should be included in the scheduled drugs list or the Schedule 1 of DPCO. So this is briefly about scheduled drugs. Now coming to non-scheduled drugs. Non-scheduled drugs or non-scheduled formulations are those medicines that are not under the price control of NPPA or the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority. So non-scheduled drugs are not subject to regulation by NPPA and in the case of non-scheduled drugs, the Drug Price Control Order of 2018 allows the manufacturers of non-scheduled drugs to increase the MRP or the maximum retail price of the non-scheduled drugs by 10% annually. So in brief, we can say that essential medicines are subject to absolute price control in the form of ceiling of prices or maximum cap of profit, but the non-essential or non-scheduled medicines are subject to a managed price increase. It allows for 10% annual increase in the MRP or the maximum retail price. Now coming to the present order of the NPPA or the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Agency, there are various combination of drugs which are included in the scheduled list as well as in the non-scheduled list. Now coming to the scheduled list of anti-cancer drugs, currently there are 57 anti-cancer drugs that are under the scheduled formulation. So NPPA has direct price control over this 57 drugs or combinations. Now the recent decision of NPPA is that 42 non-scheduled anti-cancer drugs, that is those drugs that do not come under the schedule 1, which are non-scheduled anti-cancer medicines, have been selected for price regulation with MRP or maximum retail price reduction of up to 87%. So this will cover almost 70 formulations and around 390 brands. And secondly, the trade margins are capped at 30% of the MRP. That means maximum profit can be 30% of the MRP or 43% of the price at which manufacturers supply it to the retailers. And also the NPPA has ordered that the manufacturers of this 42 drugs cannot reduce the production volumes of the brands under regulation. So when the price comes down or when price undergoes certain kind of restriction, there is a chance that the manufacturers will bring down the volume of production. So in order to avoid such a situation which can lead to shortage of these drugs, the NPPA has clearly given guidelines that the manufacturers cannot bring down the volumes of manufacturing or production of these drugs. So this is to ensure that there is no shortage for the drugs in the market. So this will ensure accessibility or availability. Now, why is this decision by NPPA significant? First of all, the 42 drugs which were selected by the NPPA for price regulation, they are non-scheduled drugs. So, non-scheduled drugs which doesn't fall under the schedule 1 is not subject to price regulations. So, it doesn't come under the ambit of price regulation or control. Now, this selection itself is very significant. Otherwise, the prices would go up and it will become unaffordable and inaccessible for the masses. And now NPPA has invoked its extraordinary powers in public interest under the paragraph 19 of the Drugs Price Control Order of 2013. So as per paragraph 19 of DPCO, the government may fix the ceiling price or retail price of any drug, whether scheduled or non-scheduled, or a new drug for a period that it may deem fit. So it is not a permanent ceiling, but for a period that the government decides. So it is not according to the ordinary powers of the NPPA, but according to extraordinary powers under paragraph 19 of DPCO 2013. Such a decision has been taken by the NPPA. So this decision of NPPA will be a great move in regulating the pharma industry, on regulating the profits of the pharma industry, and thereby ensuring that these drugs are available at affordable rates to the patients. Now coming to the benefits of the decision taken by NPPA. According to NPPA, the rationalization of trade margins will lead to a reduction in the maximum retail price of these drugs by 50 to 75%. This is in case of almost 124 brands. And in case of another 121 brands, this will lead to a reduction of up to 25 to 50%. And in case of certain other brands, it can lead to an MRP reduction of up to 87%. So this will definitely have an impact on the retail price of the drugs. So retail price is the price at which the consumers buy the drugs. So this will benefit around 22 lakh cancer patients in the country. So they will get affordable drugs. And this is likely to result in an annual savings of approximately 800 crores to the consumers in total. and it will also reduce the out-of-pocket expenditure for cancer patients. So in case of cancer patients, the out-of-pocket expenditure for drugs is almost 2.5 times higher than that of other diseases. So this is likely to benefit the cancer patients in bringing down their out-of-pocket expenditure for the purchase of drugs. And the out-of-pocket expenditure in the total medical expenditure or in the health expenditure in India accounts for around 70%. So when the out-of-pocket expenditure for drugs comes down, this will significantly reduce the total out-of-pocket expenditure in healthcare. You can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page, and for any queries regarding your preparations, you can write to me on my Facebook page. You can also follow my page for more updates of my videos, and you can write to me at joyce.studyiq@gmail.com. Thank you.